of the outline of the setting. West Valley Prep is a prestigious private school with a reputation for strict discipline and old-school values. The school is led by Principal Malcolm Harrow, a stern, no-nonsense administrator who believes that enforcing harsh consequences builds character and order. While most parents tolerate his tough stance, some whisper that his punishments often cross the line. But in this rigid environment, students are expected to follow every rule, from uniform codes to hairstyle regulations, with zero tolerance for rebellion. It's within this atmosphere that a new controversy begins to unfold, one involving Sasha Seagal, a quiet, strong-willed student with a famous last name, and a defiant streak that would soon trigger a chain of events no one could have predicted. Seagal, with her long hair dyed a deep crimson red, a clear violation of the school's strict grooming policy, which mandates only natural hair colours. When a teacher spots her in the hallway, she's immediately escorted to the principal's office. Principal Harrow, already known for making examples of rule breakers, sees Sasha's hair as a challenge to his authority. Ignoring protocol and bypassing any call home, he declares on the spot that she will either leave school indefinitely or submit to an immediate consequence, her head shaved clean in his office. Shocked but determined not to show fear, Sasha refuses to cry as the principal retrieves electric clippers and shaves her hair in front of a staff member. The act is meant to humiliate her, but it sets off something far more explosive. Motionless, but her classmates stunned into silence. Whispers ripple through the room. Some are shocked, others amused, but most are simply horrified. Word spreads quickly across the school. The principal shaved Stephen Seagal's daughter's head. By lunch, the entire student body knows what happened. Some film short clips of Sasha sitting alone in the cafeteria, head down, trying to ignore the attention. A few sympathetic students try to comfort her, but she brushes them off. She's humiliated, but not broken. Meanwhile, a concerned teacher who witnessed the event anonymously contacts the school board, and someone else, even more dangerous, Stephen Seagal himself. Want to move on to point 4? That evening, Stephen Seagal receives a call that stops him in his tracks. It's not from the school, it's from a family friend whose child attends West Valley Prep. The voice on the other end is trembling. Stephen, something happened to Sasha. The principal shaved her head in front of people. Seagal hangs up without saying much, calm on the outside but seething with quiet fury inside. He calls the school, no answer. He calls Sasha. She says she's fine, but her voice cracks. That's all he needs to hear. Within the hour, Seagal is on a flight. He's not coming just as a concerned parent. He's coming as a storm. Shall we continue with point 5, the arrival? The next morning, just after first period begins, a black SUV pulls up in front of West Valley Prep. The school's security team barely has time to react before the doors open, and Stephen Seagal steps out, dressed in black, eyes cold with purpose. Students gather at the windows, teachers pause mid-lecture. Principal Harrow is informed via intercom, "Mr. Seagal is here and he's coming to your office." Without waiting to be escorted, Seagal walks straight into the building, every step echoing down the halls. He doesn't yell, he doesn't make a scene, but the look in his eyes makes every staff member he passes fall silent. He pushes open the door to the principal's office without knocking. What happens next silences the entire school. Would you like to go on to point 6? Haitian. Principal Harrow stands up as Seagal enters, trying to assert control. "Mr. Seagal, I assure you," Seagal raises a hand. Silence. "You put your hands on my daughter," he says, voice low and deadly calm. "You humiliated her without my consent, without a single call." Harrow tries to defend himself, citing school policy and student discipline, but Seagal steps forward, eyes locked on the man. "That wasn't discipline," he growls. "That was abuse." The tension in the room is suffocating. Seagal leans in, inches from the principal's face. "You ever touch my daughter again, or any child like that, I won't just come back with lawyers. I'll come back with something you won't be able to talk your way out of." The principal, sweating now, nods but says nothing. Seagal turns, opens the door, and walks out, leaving the office in complete, shaken silence.
Ready to continue with point 7, the fallout?
Fallout. By the end of the day, the entire school knows what happened behind the principal's closed office door. Students begin sharing their own stories of Principal Harrow's harsh punishments. Some even post anonymously on social media. Hashtags like Justice for Sasha and Too Far Harrow begin trending locally. Parents demand an emergency board meeting. The school board, already rattled by media inquiries and community outrage, places Principal Harrow on immediate administrative leave pending investigation. News vans park outside the school by morning. Meanwhile, Seagal releases a brief, composed statement to the press. No child deserves to be humiliated under the guise of discipline. Let this be a message. The message is loud and clear, and it's spreading fast. Would you like to move on to point 8? As the story explodes across news outlets and social media, it evolves from a personal incident into a national conversation about school discipline, consent, and student rights. Advocacy groups for student welfare begin rallying behind Sasha's story. Legal experts weigh in on television, calling the principal's actions unlawful and a violation of personal autonomy. Several families come forward with similar experiences at other schools. Back at West Valley Prep, the atmosphere shifts. Students, once afraid to speak up, now feel empowered. A student-led walkout is organised in solidarity with Sasha, with signs reading, "Hair doesn't equal discipline, we are not property." For Sasha, it's overwhelming, but also healing. Her quiet act of strength during the incident now inspires others to stand tall. This moment becomes more than just justice for one student. It's the spark of something much bigger. Ready for point? Within 2 weeks, the school board concludes its investigation and announces the termination of Principal Harrow, citing gross misconduct and violation of student rights. Steven Seagal, though never seeking monetary damages, quietly funds a legal team to help other students and families who may have experienced similar mistreatment at West Valley Prep and beyond. Sasha is offered a public apology from the school and given the choice to transfer or remain. She chooses to stay, head held high, shaved or not. New school policies are introduced. No disciplinary action involving physical alteration without parental consent. A student rights charter is drafted and signed by staff and board members. Mental health professionals are brought in to support students during the transition. The school, once a symbol of fear and control, begins to shift toward transparency, empathy, and reform, largely because one student stood her ground and her father refused to stay silent.
Would you like to finish with point 10?
Months later, Sasha's story is featured in national media outlets as a turning point in the conversation around student rights and school accountability. She's invited to speak at youth advocacy panels and educational conferences, not as Steven Seagal's daughter, but as a voice for students who've been silenced. Steven Seagal, typically known for his stoic roles in action films, surprises the public by quietly supporting educational reform programs and donating to student mental health initiatives. He doesn't seek credit, but his presence at key events speaks volumes. West Valley Prep becomes a case study in how schools can either cling to outdated discipline or evolve when challenged. Other schools across the country begin revisiting their policies inspired by what unfolded there. Sasha, once humiliated in front of her classmates, now walks the halls with dignity, her confidence restored. Her shaved head grows back, but her courage leaves a lasting impression. The message is clear. One unjust act can spark change, but only if someone stands up and someone else stands with them. Would you like this turned into a full short story, article, or screenplay version next?